Hello everyone and welcome to Season 7, Episode 25 of Pro Wrestling's Top 50. I'm your host Travis McNeil, and today we continue our countdown of the top 50 matches in CHIKARA history with match number 26 on our list, which is the King of Trios Tournament Finals between the BDK trio of Claudio, Castagnoli, RS, and Tursas against the colony of Soldier Ant, Fire Ant, and Green Ant from the CHIKARA King of Trios 2010 Night 3 event held on April the 25th, 2010. So we've already gotten a little bit into the whole BDK story on this season so far, and we're certainly not done with it even with this video. But this is a match that, like the defense against Frightmare and Hallowicked of the Campeonatos that I talked about earlier in the season, is a match that maybe didn't get the most favorable reviews at the time, but watching back now, it's absolutely fantastic. This is your typical, renegade heel NWO style stable pulling one over on the top babyface unit in CHIKARA. There's a heel referee being introduced. There's a fast count. There's all of these things that if they were to happen today on WWE or AEW or anything like that, I would be incredibly frustrated with, because like I've said when it comes to this BDK angle, I'm so used to long-term professional wrestling storylines, not really having a proper satisfying end game and ultimately leaving me unfulfilled. But somehow, although it went on too long after the fact, this BDK storyline did ultimately kind of come to a pretty decent, positive, blow off, if we want to call it that, but more on that later. So in the context of the whole story, this match works really, really well. And I was maybe in the minority of, at the time, I thought it was fantastic. The crowd was super hot, a great babyface performance from the colony, everything you would want out of a big, high-stakes match early on in this feud. Everything that the King of Trios finals should have been in 2010, in my opinion. And it's funny because, it seems like if it's a King of Trios finals, it's going to find its way on this countdown one way or another. We've already had, quite a few of them and add this one onto the list. But we get just a really, really hot, start to this match. You have Jakob Hammermeyer, who was the BDK's heel announcer, shoving Gavin Loudspeaker out of the way, immediately to do the introductions, which, kind of riles up the crowd to begin with. And then the colony just rushes the ring and immediately takes the attack to the heels, immediately hit Ants Go Marching, one of their big finishing moves on Claudio Castagnoli. And they immediately go for this super antipult, which is, if you're unfamiliar with the antipult, it's an incredible move where basically the colony form like a crisscross with their arms, two members do, and then they catapult Fire Ant up into the air into basically like a somersault dive. But they go for this off of the top rope, which is just so high and absolutely insane. But they go for this because it allowed them to win earlier on in the tournament over the team from Team Osaka Pro. So they go for this really, really early on, but just an absolutely amazing spot. Claudio Castagnoli catches the ant coming down from this super antipult into a European uppercut. It is gnarly. It is so cool. And it is such a hot start to this match that would just really ride that momentum and carry on through all the way up into the ending. We get near falls aplenty in this match. Everybody is constantly going for the win, really putting over the stakes of what winning King of Trios can mean. There's a part I love that I just wanted to give a quick shout out to. I've got it mentioned in my notes. Where the colony, they do this pinning combination on Arez, where one basically takes him over with a crossbody, and then the other comes in with a prawn hold over top for a double pin. And I loved watching this now. I might not have even have picked it up at the time, but if you are familiar with Core Region Pro Wrestling, otherwise known as Core, and if you are not, check out the We Were Core Tumblr. This was a fantasy fed done by the legendary CZW Fans Poster Words that was just so much fun back in the day. I've got a Core hoodie and a Core t-shirt. I have more, make-believe wrestling, merchandise from this company than I do from, any other federation, I would say. But there was like this old handicap match he did with, you know, the late Brody Lee against Special K. And they did this great trios pin where he had one of them on his back in like a Samoan drop, and then he caught the other coming in for like a cross body. So he's got a guy on his back and a guy on his chest. And then he got drop kicked, and the third came in with the prawn hold. So it was basically like a crucifix, a lateral press, and a prawn hold. It was awesome. I think about that spot all of the time, even though, again, it was imaginary. But to see it, you know, pretty close in this match really made me happy watching it back 12 years later. There is just counters galore in this match. Bumps like crazy. Tursas takes this great bump over the ropes and then over the guardrail into the crowd. And if you're unfamiliar with Tursas, he was basically the heavy of the BDK. He was a big super heavyweight. That's gimmick was that he would never leave his feet. So a wild bump for him to take, which was really, really cool. We get, you know, this big spot with Fire Ant climbing one of the support beams in the ECW arena and hitting a big dive off of it, you know, shades of M-Dog 20 in 2002 CZW, which was really, really cool. We get this fantastic moment where one of the, I believe it's Fire Ant, gets the CHIKARA special in, and Arez does the inverted CHIKARA special, which, you know, was part of this whole BDK storyline. There was no counter for the inverted CHIKARA special. So they get, you know, these locked on, and they start trading punches, you know, while they have their signature moves locked on, which was awesome. There's a big, you know, moment where Green Ant, you know, kind of up until this point, maybe like the lower tier member of the colony. He got introduced in 2009. He really gets a big moment to shine. He does a bunch of great stuff with Claudio, and he gets this big moment where he gets to kick out at 1 on Swiss Death, which was pretty much unheard of. Kick out at 2 on a big running European uppercut. And then counter the Ricola bomb into the Texas Cloverleaf, which was one of his staples. And then transition that into a CHIKARA special, which is totally great because he's like no selling punches from Arez while he's doing it. And the crowd is so hot for all of this. And it's really, really, really good stuff. This match ends up leading into this moment of isolation where the colony keeps taking out Claudio and Tursas with dives, leaving Arez in the ring to get hit with everybody's signature offense. He takes a beach break and everything you can imagine, and he keeps kicking out. The colony eventually goes for the anthill, and this is where the shenanigans for the finish, you know, kind of pick up. Bryce Remsburg's the referee for the match. He gets bumped. He's really slow for a cover on an Arez Tiger Driver, and that leads to him getting splashed by Tursas, so we have no referee for a while. The colony finally end up hitting the anthill, their finishing maneuver. Derek Sabato, who at this point, you know, was just a standard referee, kind of comes in, refuses to make the count. The BDK hit low blows directly in front of him, which was a really great way to sell that, like, oh, shoot, this guy is aligned with the BDK, that he doesn't call for the DQ. The BDK hit the Ragnarok, which is one of the best finishers of all time. It's been used in AEW as well, but it's basically like 2 wrestlers hold an opponent up in like an inverted like crucifix, and then the third wrestler runs in between and basically flips the guy being held up and over into like a powerbomb type maneuver. My words can't do it justice, but it's super, super cool. They hit that. Sabato does a super, super fast 3 count just for the dastardly cherry on top, and that's enough to give the BDK the win and the 2010 King of Trios medals. And again, at the time, this faced a lot of criticism. You have this super stable. Arez and Claudio had just won the Campeonatos de Parejas from the colony. Now they were winning King of Trios. A lot of fans thought it was, you know, too much too soon. Tim Donst won the Young Lions Cup. But ultimately, this all worked out really, really well long-term. Like I said, paying off to a great, you know, blow-off at the end of the 2010 season. This match is so much fun, though. It's a great, you know, key moment in my opinion, you know, the best feud in CHIKARA history. It's an electric crowd in the iconic ECW arena, the finals of a phenomenal tournament. It's everything that you could ask for in a great CHIKARA match. You can watch it, of course, on independentwrestling.tv. Subscribe to my channel here on YouTube so that you never miss a video. Follow me on Instagram and Twitter at Wrestling50. And please join me again next time as we continue to count down Pro Wrestling's Top 50.